What's up, everybody? It's that big day. Are you ready, Kentucky? Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? Tom Massie. If there's a bunch of commies living in your state, who we gonna call? Tom Massie. If you need a big cone and you want a bone, who you gonna call? Tom Massie. Who you gonna call? You ain't gonna call the sad little acorn boy. We're here for Tom Massie. Yeah, louder. I ain't afraid to know. All right, we are here. Without further ado, let us get into it. I have a limited amount of time for you guys today, but I do have a very interesting and fun show. It's been a long time. I've had some family visiting and I've had a lot going on, but I have been pleasantly surprised with the outpouring and the turning out for Thomas Massie. And, you know, the more I look into this guy, the more I fucking love Thomas Massie. He is like an original OG founding father. You know, back in the day when the whole Trump thing came on, back 2016, I took a banner down to San Diego and got accosted before it was popular, by leftists. And I was interviewed there and I said, well, you know, I'm kind of more leaning a little bit more libertarian, constitutional, but, you know, Trump's great and Hillary's a commie fag and fascist, and Bernie's a complete commie. Anyway, so now here we have Thomas Massie, and the contrast is compelling to me, because you have Trump is kind of like the macho Camacho president. He's got the flashy gold and he's got the, you know, the prayer breakfast and the flashing lights, and he's out with, you know, his explosions and all this stuff. But you have Tom Massie, the guy like builds his own house with his bare hands. He built his own log cabin with his own sawmill. He hewed bricks by himself to build a pizza oven in his own kitchen. He then proceeds to invite random podcasters into his house, which was cool. Then he makes them pizza, which was even cooler. Then he makes some peach margaritas out of the peaches from his own tree, which was even cooler. And then he starts picking banjo. I mean, this motherfucker is cool shit. And before that, he was working in tech, doing telepresence, where you could touch things in virtual reality, which is something that they would use for molecule building or, telepresence for medicine, because you need feedback. You can't just like slice into organs. You need to feel the tension of the organ and stuff like that. So the guy has a mind for tech. He has a mind for building. He has a mind for music. He has a mind for the Constitution. He's funny. I mean, this guy, Thomas Massie, if you really are buying the propaganda, I mean, if you're just like not informed and you're just kind of like listen to Trump a lot, and, you know, I get it, whatever. You think he's a scumbag or he's a pervert because he dated a girl. I mean, okay. After his wife passed. I mean, that does suck. But you know what? When you got your heart broken to that level and you find someone else, maybe you need something to just like, okay, I just want to get out of here. I just want to go have fun with my life. You feel like your life's over. At a certain point, you got to get back into it. And then there's these calls for he's pervert. She won't say what he was perverted about. He said his dick was so big it looked like a pine cone. Big fucking deal. He asked me to do perverted things. Like what? Suck his dick? Maybe put his finger in your butt? I mean, I don't know what world we ended up living in. Like when I grew up, every guy I knew, you know, they'd be like, yeah, I like to fuck blah, blah to her. And I like to this and that to her. I got roadhead the other night. Yeah, we were out at the beach and I boned her like in the cave or whatever. I mean, when did everybody become so prudish? I mean, I get it. Everyone's going Christian and this and that, but it's like, guys, none of us would be born if everyone's to walk around like, hello, honey, may I kiss you under the moonlight? Let me lift your frock. I mean, come on, guys. Come on. And meanwhile, you've got all these other people accused of child molesting on islands, and everyone's fighting against it, including Trump. And Thomas Massie comes out and he's like, we're going to get this thing out. We're pushing for it. Then how about data centers? How do you feel about data centers? Do you like data centers? Do you like them sucking the blood of humanity? I don't really like that. And I think I know he was one of the only people to actually push back on the data centers. They were going to give them eminent domain and basically like pharmaceutical companies, and just like they're doing with glyphosate, to say you can just do whatever you want. He pushed back on glyphosate. He pushed back on vaccines. He pushed back on data centers, and every one of his votes, people say, well, he voted against paying for kittens because it was in a bill that has a provision for killing puppies. And it's like you vote for one thing, but you get another one. Remember, there was a time when we used to be against omnibus bills. Remember when the Democrats were passing these omnibus bills? We're like, this is wrong. We want to vote on individual issues, because we know what happens is it becomes a giant horse trading thing. And basically it's just a giant pork barrel bullshit where basically none of these politicians get told no. They just get what they want. They're like, I'm not voting for the bill. Like, well, what do you want? Like, I want a gay pride promenade. It's like, well, can't do that. Well, I'm not voting. And then you get a gay pride promenade. Well, what do you want? Oh, I want a subsidy for truckers. Well, we're not going to do that. It's like, well, we're not voting. And basically every senator has a pet project, and every industry and every, country like Israel and some other places, Qatar, perhaps China, gets to lobby and get their little bullshit project in. And who gets fucked? We get fucked. We get nothing. They get everything they want. They go to all their little Christmas lists. Imagine you make a Christmas wish list of everything you want, and then everyone else, in your town does. And it's like, basically you say, we're not voting for it. No one gets paid until we all get our Christmas list. So everyone just gets a bunch of bullshit. And then the people get the ticket, and the government gets bigger, and the corruption gets wider, and there's no end in sight to it. So I made this cute little meme here because I was like, what's this pine cone thing going on about? I mean, I would listen to that chick ramble on, but there's only so much Laura Loomer I can take. Total cult member, total foreign agent. And I was like, to me, it sounds pretty cool. Like if you're putting off the radar in an airport because your freaking dick's so big, it looks like a pine cone. Now, keep in mind, Thomas Massie lives out in the woods with some pretty big pine cones. Okay. And it ain't no acorn is the key here. And that's what sad little acorn boy has, the name that shall not be named. He's a nothing. He's a nobody. They say he's a Navy SEAL. Well, the Navy SEALs were against him. They hated him. He came out of nowhere. He's funded by AIPAC. He's funded by Miriam Adelson. He's funded by all these foreign actors. Like, and then Trump comes out and says he's the worst person ever. Like, really? The worst senator ever? Worse than AOC, worse than Bernie Sanders was, worse than anybody ever? Hakeem Jeffries? Anyone? Really? Because he votes for the Constitution straight down the line. If they made these bills where they didn't include a bunch of unconstitutional bullshit in them, like forcing you to have a fucking camera in your car, which Thomas Massie voted against, or forcing you to take glyphosate up the ass and not have ability to sue them, which Thomas Massie voted against, or, robotic insects taking over your fucking land and sucking the blood out of it, data centers. Who voted against that? Thomas Massie. Now, he's not anti-tech, but he's not willing to just give them a blank check. Because what happens then is they basically say, this is eminent domain. We do whatever we want. And from what I hear, they need the infrastructure in these small towns. They need the cheap land, but they also need the water and the infrastructure of the roads and everything going to it. So basically, they find a small middle of nowhere town, and they're just like, we're just going to plonk a fucking data center on it. Because you're like, why don't they just put them in like the literal middle of nowhere? Because that won't work. So your little middle of nowhere town that you went into to get out of the system, you're going to be screwed, and you're going to get your entire town, and they're going to suck all the water out of the ground. All your crops are going to die off. All your electricity is going to either go through the roof, or you're going to have rolling blackouts, which is planned. I mean, do you remember we were running out of power before? They said we didn't have enough power. Well, the grid has barely expanded at all, but we have now all these electric cars. All these electric cars are now supposed to run off of the grid. And now we have these data centers, which take more than full cities, some of them more than whole countries. And they're like just building them at breakneck speed. When a minute ago, they're like, oh, this is bad for the environment. No, we can't do that. Anyway, without getting too far into it, I just want to play some clips. I'm going to play a couple of clips. I just stacked together a couple of clips of Thomas Massie, how cool he is. And I might segue to a little bit of data center action. Let's go back here. Go to the song. This is Thomas Massie on the fill. He was nice enough to play with me here on.
Out on the edge, you're the Milky Way's arm. There's a hard-working man working hard on his farm. The so-called stars, how they play.
Oops, got a little problem there.
Out on the edge, you're the Milky Way's arm. There's a hard-working man working hard on his farm. The so-called stars, how they play their games. There's a dark little secret that's calling their names. Epstein's Island, hidden away from our view, where the powerful gather, doing what they do. On the spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, there's a parasite sucking the blood of humanity. No one knows when it started, but it's sure been a while. Out in deep space, paying taxes to pedophiles. Government means to control the mind, but we've lost ours now, and we're sure in a bind. Pay it no mind, just keep on the grind. Working man's blues, paying taxes to pedophiles. From the ranches of New Mexico to the halls of the crown, the web's spinning wider, pulling us down. The truckers on the highway, the miners in the hole, paying for the parties where they sell off their souls. So here's to the fathers, the sons and the kin, breaking their backs just to let the crooks win. Epstein's gone quiet, but the story ain't done. The Lolita's still flying under the sun. Prince and the Pauper, Savile's dark grin, cloning at Zorro, where the nightmare begins. The working man wonders as he stares at the sky, why his hard-earned dollars help the monsters get by. On the spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, there's a parasite sucking the blood of humanity. No one knows when it started, but it's sure been a while. out in deep space, paying taxes to pedophiles. Pay it no mind, rise up and fight. Working man's anthem in the dead of the night.
I got to take that call. So without getting into it right now, maybe I'll give you guys an update on it later. I'd kind of wanted to make sure
I got to take that call.
that the audio is working, and yes, it is. And so we'll go to our next thing. I appreciate you guys hanging in there. Do me a favor. If I got any people here, I got 81 people, my true writers, my real G's. As you know, I am hella suppressed. I used to get millions of impressions, weekly, and now I get like 2 comments on things. And it's not that the Massie thing is unpopular, because he's hugely popular. But let me switch screens here, and I'll pull up a couple more of these clips for you. You just tell me what you think. There's Massie shredding. So I mean, look at this. This is Thomas Massie's house. This is the house that Thomas Massie built. And this is not like a golden room where he pulled in some marble from Italy. He physically built this motherfucker. Like, he designed it. He built it. And he put a pizza oven in his kitchen. Oh, how cool is that? Come on. So let's just feel the vibes here for a second, will you? Invites random people into his house. Now, I'm sure he knew some of these people, but from what I heard, he wasn't like, oh, you can't come in. People he did agree with, people he didn't agree with. Ryan Matta was there, even with his American Reich shirt. He wasn't like, you can't come in, you can't, it's bad luck. He's just like, hey, come on in, man. Free speech, baby. Thomas Massie then makes the margaritas, makes the pizzas out of the oven he built in the house that he made with the wood that he hewn himself with his own sawmill, with the money he made from the tech company he owned. I mean, this guy is a renaissance man. This guy's OG. This is like what this is incredible, dude. I'm sorry. The more I hear from him, the more I love him. Listen to this. Rock me, mama, like a wind and rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like a wind. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. I love that song. Man, how cool is that? Come on, there he is, chilling. Yeah? You don't like him? Come on. I want you to go out and vote for this motherfucker. I want you to call your friends and tell them to stop listening to the propaganda, and I want you to go out. Because you know what happens? If Thomas Massie is unseated by foreign money, Like the most amount of money they've ever spent to get out the most constitutional man of all time. If we lose that battle, I mean, hey, we'll fight another battle, but if we win that battle, that will be a death nail to AIPAC. Trump will move along. Massie will still vote for the things that are constitutional. Maybe they'll have to start writing constitutional laws. I don't know. Maybe we can get someone else in. You know, I'm sorry. Apparently, Lindsey Graham is super awesome now. I forgot. You know, everyone used to hate Lindsey Graham. Remember that? But now he's like second heir to the universe. Lindsey Graham, giant homo, fucking complete annoying fuck, total sellout. He's the man now. It's like we voted for Trump. I voted for Trump. The real G's, in my opinion, voted for Trump because he had standards. He said he wasn't going into wars. He was being constitutional. He was going to close the borders. He was going to make America great again, not Israel. You know, I haven't seen any uptick. I don't know about you. I'm not seeing the uptick. I'm seeing data centers. I'm seeing more AI, you know. Other than that, it's like, it's going to, well, once we get 57 billion data centers in, that's going to make everybody so much more money. I mean, there's a few people that are using AI to sell, like, you know, printed t-shirts online. Like, how far is that going to go, guys? And how many widgets can you own? You know, there's only so much land. Maybe they'll be able to build houses in the middle of nowhere, but then they're going to need water. They're going to need electricity, but the data centers are going to need that. Anyway, let's look up another clip here. This is when I first got into Massie back in the day. This is an old picture of him talking about where he comes from. And so this is back in 2024. I guess I reposted in 2025. I'm like, how did I miss this? Thomas Massie is amazing. This is when I heard about him building this freaking house by stones. Anyway, listen to the video. You don't like Thomas Massie? I don't know, bro. I think the people that don't like Thomas Massie are paid, or retards, or they are Israeli, or they are paid by Israel, or they just believe everything Trump says, who is basically paid by Israel. There's just no way you can't like this guy, dude. Give me a fucking break. Watch this video.
Shortly after coming back here and at MIT, I invented some technology, some virtual reality technology that let people touch virtual objects, to feel them with their hands inside the computer. I commercialized this device. I got patents for it. I raised venture capital money. A lot of this happened while I was still.
Guys, do me a favor, will you? I forgot to ask. Now that we got 100 people in here, could you please, the people that actually like me and actually follow me, could you please repost this space to make the rest of it a little bit more worthwhile, to get a few more eyes on it, so I'm not just talking into the box, into nowhere. Usually a few thousand people will watch it later, but I'd love to have a live audience. Please do me a favor. Put some comments in the actual video too, not just on the chat. Like if you actually go back to the actual post and leave some comments in there. And then if you hate Thomas Massie, that's fine. You know, you can tell me he's a pervert. He's a commie. You know, okay, guys. But if you love me, I know there's a couple of you out there. Please repost this for me, would you? It's the only way I'm going to get this message out.
At MIT, I invented some technology, some virtual reality technology that let people touch virtual objects, to feel them with their hands inside the computer. I commercialized this device. I got patents for it. I raised venture capital money. A lot of this happened while I was still in school. My high school sweetheart, who actually grew up on this farm, also went to MIT. So we were doing this company together while we were both students at MIT. That was very rewarding, but my wife and I wanted to get back to Kentucky. And because we had started the company in our married student housing dormitory, we had hired 70 people in New England. I thought about trying to offer them all 40 acres and a mule to come back to Kentucky with us, but ultimately we had to sell our ownership and separate from the company in order for us to relocate here in Kentucky, where we wanted to raise our kids the same way we had been raised. We bought the farm that my wife grew up on. Her parents still live here. And we decided to build a house and to do tangible things. I had been living in virtual reality. That was my business, a virtual reality device. Getting back to the earth and was important to both my wife and I. So we wanted everything about our house to be real and nothing about it to be fake. Kentucky was the best place for us to live this dream because there are very few regulations here. I came back here just to blend in. I didn't want to be the nail sticking up. Shortly after coming back here and starting to build our house with everything real, the local government decided they wanted to start passing more laws and restricting what you could do with your land. I thought, well, I can just ignore that and just go on with my life. And I did. I ignored it for 2 or 3 years. And then I just couldn't take it anymore. And I wrote a letter to the editor to air my grievances with the local government. They were going to raise our taxes that day, and we stopped it from happening. All right. So on my farm, there are some very large stones like this, and they're great building material, but they're too big for me to manage. So what I do is I slice them up using a gas chop saw and wedges to split the stones. So this is a stone where I've sliced into it with the saw and then drove wedges into it and split it. Eventually, I get down to something about this size, but that's not a nice looking face. So I want it to look good. So I face this with the chisel. So my idea for my house was to build it all from stone and timber that I could find here on my farm. And when I told people that I was going to do that, they were worried for me that the stones wouldn't be good enough, that somehow because they were available right here on my farm and local, that maybe they were inferior. And I'm sure you've seen stones that look like this. This is how they end up looking like this. And when they try to imitate stones that look like this, they're trying to imitate work, because this is a lot of hard work. But I think there's this notion that if something's available locally, it's not as good, that it's got to be exotic, that you've got to get this stone from Italy in order for it to be something meaningful. For me, it's more meaningful because it came from the location where I'm building the house.
Thomas Massie, total commie, piece of shit. Yeah, he's I don't know, man. That's my kind of people right there. I wish. I mean, I was about to buy a little house up in it was collapsing up in the mountains. I was gonna get a really good deal on it, but they were gonna tear it down. They said it was a complete write-off. I said I could fix it because I'm in construction. However, the only reason I didn't do it was because I need to give my wife a kidney. And so if I give her a kidney, which I'm in the workup for now, might happen in the next few months, I have to unfortunately undergo a colonoscopy to screen myself for cancer, which I did pop on one of those tests that they have that gives you I guess a 1 in 10 chance that you might have colon cancer or something like that. I don't really want to do it. I tried to avoid it, but I got all the way through the whole thing. And they're like, they won't take my kidney unless I prove to them I don't have cancer. And I know that having a colonoscopy can actually cause cancer, but it's a risk I'm willing to take for my wife to cut out my kidney, to give her a kidney. And I was going to go up there and I was going to buy it, man. And there was some financial issues. I could have pulled it off, but the last minute I was like, it became so hard and tight that I was like, this is not a good move, because I could come out of the hospital and not be able to work, and she might be sicker. And this house is 2 hours away from where I live, up a giant hill. It would have been very hard for me to commute, and I might not have even been able to work on the house. So was planning on fixing it myself with beams and everything. And unfortunately, I couldn't pull through. That house has sold, and it's a sad thing because it was a very good deal. It was $120,000 here in San Diego, which is absolutely unheard of because basically they were considering it's basically just land with water and sewer. But I knew I could fix it up because I've done so much construction in the past. So building a house from the ground up with the physical wood and stone in the area with your hands, you're a fucking gangster, bro. But oh, Thomas Massie, he's not cool. But he can also play the banjo, and he can also cook a pizza, and he can also make you a margarita, and he can also stand up for the Constitution. Please go out and vote for Massie. Stop buying the bullshit propaganda. We have to have this win. Gotta have this win. Gotta prove AIPAC doesn't control our politicians. Can't buy our seats. You know, they tried to buy him. AIPAC tried to buy him. He didn't take the money. And then now they're just trying to buy a seat. So they just put some random bullshit in. And now Trump's doing the same thing with Boebert. He's like, I don't even care who they are. Just any warm body, I'll back them. And we're just going to put them in. And the guy he's putting in, he's like, I'm a go along, get along guy. So it's like, we're supposed to have a government where you just do whatever the emperor says. I mean, I don't know. Maybe an emperor would be good. But I don't think this is the way to go when maybe Thomas Massie would be good. A guy that thought having the stone from his own property and fixing it with his bare hands would be preferable to pulling in gold and marble from Italy and little cherubims and stuff and all the gaudiness. I mean, I kind of like the Trump stuff, but when you see the two together, I lean to the everyman. I lean to the hardworking man. I lean to the Massies of the world. And I personally think that the Constitution should be like a religious document. I thought when they were tearing down the statues of the founding fathers and stuff like that, I said we should make a religion so that it would be illegal for them to do that. And the religion would be Christianity plus all of the founding documents, Bill of Rights, so on and so forth, to enshrine them beyond political into an actual religious sanctity. So you couldn't actually get around it. Or you wouldn't be someone couldn't outlaw it because that's one thing apparently that certain religions don't want you to be able to outlaw religions, which is probably a good thing, but we do get in a lot of trouble with all these religions. I will say that. And as Adam Green says, they are all Jewish. Let's not forget that. But love Jesus. Got to plug my thing in here because I'm going to die. No producer, just me, guys. Just me in my garage, in my glass blowing studio, actually. And let's look at another clip. Enough about me. Let's talk about the man. We're running out of time here, guys. If your friends are tripping, if you got a friend, go grab them, bring them down to the polls, and vote your conscience, guys. We can't let these fuckers win. We can't let Laura Loomer win. This guy's not going to vote against Trump. He's just going to vote against unconstitutional bullshit. His record is immaculate. Okay. So let's look at another video. Look at that guy. That is so cool.
At MIT, I invented some technology, some virtual
reality. I got to say, even though I had friends, family in town, and even though I was sick, after watching this video a few years ago and my dream of building a house like this, had I have known that I would have been able to eat pizza in his house and play music and sing along with him, I don't care. I would have went. I don't care how much it cost, going out there and supporting it. That was cool. But for this actually to be in that house with that man playing music and eating his pizza and drinking a margarita, I would have given anything. I am the most FOMO'd person on planet Earth for not going there. And for everybody that was there, congratulations. Because next time it happens, I think there'll be too many people to have it be intimate. So you had a one of a kind time there, people. Good for you. A little bit jealous. Here's Diligent Denizen points out that Thomas Massie has a 96 Liberty score, voting for the Constitution, conservative voting record. His 96% Liberty score. And he's the worst person of all time. There's no one worse. No one worse. Nobody worse. No one worse. Thomas Massie builds his own house. He has a pizza oven. Who knows what he's doing with the oven? We don't know. Lots of people wonder where the oven's going. Ryan Matta might be operating the oven. But with a 96% liberty score. We gotta get him out. We gotta get him out. Get him out. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here. He was on with Owen Schroyer, who's been doing some very interesting makeovers lately, I will say. Some very interesting I love Owen, but he's had some funny memes out there lately that he's putting in himself. It's not like other people are putting them out. It's kind of funny. But let's listen to Massie.
How much of this, what it is that you're going through politically right now, the attacks launched against you, Trump coming out against you, really the establishment now, the entire corrupt establishment, I view it, is coming against you. How much of this do you believe is punishment for the Epstein Transparency Act?
From the donor class, it's a large portion of it. I don't think that, because as you see, there's not really been any accountability in Washington, D.C. They've still been able to keep this swept under the rug. But the Epstein class, they're not just for transgenders, they're transnational as well, right? They fly jets, they've got visa waivers, they don't go through the same airport security as you and me. And they mingle with princes and prime ministers and ambassadors, and they've got billions of dollars, and they're not particularly partisan or even ideological. And so overseas, you see that the Prince of England has lost his title. You see that the British ambassador to the United States, probably the most important link between two countries in the world, he was removed, arrested. A former prime minister of Norway, minister of culture from France, the CEO of the World Economic Forum. Can we just had to
Klaus Schwab,
because of the files that I got released? Can we just pause right there? The World Economic Forum used to be our arch nemesis. If you were America First, if you were MAGA, you were against the people who said we're going to eat bugs and you'll own nothing and you'll be happy about it. I took that guy out. Where's the applause, right? Like, that should be a front page.
Thomas Massie's a globalist. Thomas Massie, just shut up. Vote for Thomas Massie.
Article. The guy that runs that organization, gone because of the Epstein files. And so am I getting punished for that? Oh, hell yeah. These people like Miriam Adelson, Paul Singer, they might not have gone to Epstein Island, but they dine with these people. So, for instance, John Paulson, he's one of the 3 billionaires that contributes to MAGA Kentucky, which is neither MAGA nor Kentucky. These are people that are just as happy doing a fundraiser for Chuck Schumer and funding pro-abortion Democrats for state Senate in Texas as they are giving money for a ballroom in Washington, D.C. That's just the price of admission for them to go to the balls and be among the Epstein class. But let's talk about John Paulson. Even before the Epstein files came out, he was in the Black Book. This is an exclusive list of about 1,000 people for whom Epstein had private cell phone numbers. And it doesn't imply that they're guilty. It just implies that Jeffrey Epstein could drop a dime and call him whenever he wanted. And what we found out in the release of these files is that Howard Lutnick is a straight up liar to the American people. That's our Commerce Secretary. That's the guy on Air Force One that's behind Trump. He's behind the Resolute desk. He's always standing there whispering in the president's ear. He was on Epstein Island.
Howard Fucknick. Like, what is his deal, dude? Howard Fucknick is constantly like perched over. What president in the world have you ever seen who's just like perched on? It's not the vice president. It's just Howard Lutnick, like a freaking vampire perching over him, always looking in the background like, don't fuck up, bro. Don't fuck up, bro. Howard Fucknick. Fuck Howard Fucknick. Man, this guy. Howard Fucknick. He lived right next to Epstein, took his kids to Epstein Island, and he's like, I don't know who Epstein is. What are you talking about? You're what are they calling him? You're a pervert. Now he's a pervert. He's a pervert because he said something. He said his dick looked like a pine cone. By the way, you're thinking like city pine cones. He's talking about country pine cones. Okay.
And he claimed he never was, that he had nothing to do with Epstein. But John Paulson there in the Epstein files, we see that he was throwing a recognition party for Howard Lutnick and asking Jeffrey Epstein for $50,000 and got it. Jeffrey Epstein gave him the money, said, I don't even need to come. Here's $50,000 to honor Howard Lutnick. And he gave it to John Paulson. This is, Owen, it's a very small world.
Well, these were the same people that were fundraising for Hillary Clinton, too.
Correct. They sure did. They're the same people that gave to Liz Cheney after she voted to impeach Donald Trump.
Oh.
Do you think these are his friends? These are not his friends.
No.
They are interested in this race
Money.
because I am the most vocal opponent to foreign aid. I'm the most vocal opponent to wars, and they need the wars. They want the foreign aid to keep flowing, and that's why they're against me. And the guy I'm running against promises to rubber stamp all of that stuff. He will be a total puppet for AIPAC.
Well, and it seems that that's where you have to be these days, especially if you want to be a Republican or even a, right-wing commentator. If you don't want to support that cause, they come after you in the media, just like they come after you in politics. But let's get local. Let's get to actually what's going on the ground in Kentucky. I don't know. I know you've been busy. You're voting and running the campaign right
now. There you go. You get the picture. There's Thomas. Thomas, my boy, Massie. That's his middle name. My boy. Thomas, my boy, Massie. Oh, but then again, I mean, I wouldn't want you guys, if Thomas Massie wins, Laura Loomer's going to leave the country. We can't have that. We can't have Laura. Laura, please don't go. What's Awesome Jew going to do? Awesome Jew, please stop her. Yeah, I was talking to Awesome Jew yesterday. There's some big story going around about Owen, funnily enough, and Laura Loomer. I don't know if you saw that. Stu Peters, pretty funny. I have no idea if that's true at all, but apparently Awesome Jew got fairly intimate with Laura, and he says it is like a flower, a perfect little flower, is what he told me. But who wants to think about Laura's nether regions? I mean, I don't know. It might be better looking than her face. So anyway, don't vote for Massie, because if Massie wins, Laura Loomer is gonna leave the country. Oh, don't leave us, Laura. Okay, let's see. I forgot what this one was about. It's just a little montage of how cool Massie is. It's Massie Fest. I know it's a big Massie suck fest, but look, man, I'll tell you straight up. He's so good with his record as a person who loves the Constitution and a person who just stands by his freaking morals. If we had 1 million fucking people, if we had all the senators were half of the senators were sitting there just voting for the Constitution, people, we would never have gotten in this problem in the first place. Ever, ever, ever. We would not be here. This would not be happening. Life would not be like this. We'd still have technology. I think we'd still have cell phones, even if we followed the Constitution, even though the Jews claim they invented them. I think we could still have cell phones. I think we'd still have cars. I don't think we needed to shred the Constitution to get cars. I don't think we needed to get an income tax to build the cell phone. I don't think that was necessary. Okay. I think this is everything now is sucked so bad, but they're like, hey, you got AI. Hey, you got a phone. Hey, Uber Eats. Come on. It's not bad. I think we could add all that and 1,000 times more if we had stuck to the Constitution, stuck to our guns, stuck to the principles. Why can't we do that? Why can't we make this stand? Why can't we put this line in the sand? Personally, it is my line in the sand. I saw Anomaly. You guys know Anomaly. He was posting. He's like, this is my line in the sand. Now, I don't know if he saw mine or just great minds think alike, but I just posted that a few days ago. I'm just like, there's so many people on the right that I was like, yeah, they're cool. Yeah, they're cool. We need a Broderick. Just everyone. You know who they are. Benny Johnson. Benny No Johnson. You're like, yeah, they're cool. They're on the team. And then they come out. They're not like, I think it's a better idea that we don't vote for him because right now we need the cohesion. No, they're like, he did this, he did that. He's a commie. He's this. He's a Democrat. Blah blah blah. He's fucking cheating on his wife with all this fake bullshit. all this fake, they know it's fake, and they're just going to spread the propaganda anyway. Is it because they're retarded? Is it because they can't think for themselves? Is it because they're paid off? Is it because they're Jewish? Is it a combination of all of the above? I don't know, but I can't trust you anymore, bro. If you come out hard, if you come out and push propaganda against Thomas Massie, if you don't just say, hey man, I'm just going with the guy Trump likes because I just want unity. That's fair. That's fair. You can say that, but don't come at me with all this fucking bullshit. Don't try and undermine the man's character. Don't try and tell me he's a piece of shit. You're a fucking piece of shit. You're a sellout. You're a fucking fag. You're a homo, and you're a fucking foreign agent, piece of crap, sellout, money grubbing cunt. Okay. And let us get into who is not a sellout, money grubbing cunt. They're like, he works for Qatar, and then they show you like three $800 payments or something like that from 3 guys with the name Muhammad. Come on, guys. I mean, if it's that easy, can't we just have anyone just say, hey, Ching Chong, why don't you send so-and-so a couple of $1,000? Like, he's getting money from the Chinese. Look right here. It says Ching Chong gave him all the money. Oh my God, Ching Chong and Wang Chung. And Wang Chung, they had Wang Chung and Kung Pao all gave him money. Guys, that's too easy. He's getting fucking hundreds of millions of dollars from AIPAC. It's the most amount of money that's ever been spent from Miriam Adelson. The fucking, you know who Miriam Adelson is. Do you like Miriam Adelson? Do you want her having total control over our government? Then vote for Massie. Vote for Massie. Call a friend. Get a car. Get a bus. Take a train. Take a plane. You can take me by airplane. You can reach me by caravan. I don't care how you get there. Just get to the fucking polls and push this man over the foot. I do not want to lose this race, guys. We can't lose this race. We cannot lose this race. I was talking to Grok, so it could take weeks till they get the numbers in. Weeks. That's gonna take weeks. You know what that means? Yeah, they got fucking voting machines there too, baby. Anyway, here's another shameless plug for Big T. Big Pinecone Tim, they call him. As they call him, affectionately. Let's look at what Pinecone Tim has to say. I forget this guy's name. He's really classic. He did a really good video. I've been following him for a while. Let's take naps. He's Ari or something. I forgot his name, but he's really cool. Just hanging out in a golf cart with Massie. Picking peaches. Maybe they're pricey.
It seems like a dream to me now. It took me 4 days to hitchhike from Saginaw. I've come to look for America. Laughing on the bus, playing games with the faces. She said the man in the gabardine suit was a spy. I said, be careful, his bow tie is really a camera. Toss me a cigarette, I think there's one in my raincoat. We smoked the last one an hour ago. So I looked at the scenery. She read her magazine, and the moon rose over an open field.
I mean, I get emotional when I watch this, man. This is the real deal right here.
Traffic Marie, I'm lost, I said, though I knew she was sleeping. I'm empty and aching, and I don't know why. Counting the cars on the New Jersey Turnpike, they've all come to look for America. All come to look for America. All come to look for America.
Woo, beautiful. I love that song. I'm sorry, guys. I'm actually getting a little choked up over this. I am so pissed I was not there. I literally am so pissed. I don't think that moment's ever going to come back. I don't think there'll ever be an intimate moment at Massie's house like that. You'd have to be invited, and then you're in the in crowd. I think it was whoever showed up got in. And even though Thomas Massie is following me, he never responds to me, but he is following me. He never even respond to his own video, his music video. I was hoping he would replay that. Could be his theme song. Could have been all the rallies. I should have went out there just to push it for the rallies, but I just family and this and that. Like I said, if I had known, I mean, honestly, guys, would you rather go to Mar-a-Lago and sit at a little gold table and maybe even get to drive in Trump's golf cart, or would you rather go to Kentucky and sit there and have Thomas Massie lay out a buffet of pizzas that he physically makes and has everybody working together, building pizzas? Oh my God, pizza. Maybe he's secretly a pedophile because they had 8 pizzas. You know, not everyone that eats pizza is a pedophile. That looks like some good pizza. I know. I like the Chicago type personally. I'm more of a thick crust person. I like the bread as long as it's not too doughy. If it's nice and crispy, and it can be nice and thick, as long as you got a good, dough to toppings ratio. Like, I gotta have a lot of cheese. I want that melty cheese. I don't want too much sauce, just a little bit of sauce, and don't overcook the vegetables. I want them vegetables to still have a little pop left on the vegetables, little basil. Now that looked like a good fucking pizza. I mean, who builds a pizza oven into their kitchen made out of stone that they hew on their land inside the cabin that they built with the wood that they sawed from their own hands? I mean, guys, this is like Ben Franklin type shit. Okay? This is the real deal. This is where we want to start focusing. This is where we want to go with America. And it's not like he's a Luddite. The guy's a freaking tech guy too. He's a tech guy. He's a musician. He's a pizza maker. He makes drinks. He's a host. He has everybody working together. He's funny. Yeah, it's a suckfest. I know. I really can't get over it. After I saw that whole thing with him and everybody in the house, I'm just you can't make that up, guys. That was not made up. I know the people that went there, and it just kind of evolved, and it was just, there was no tickets. There was no backstage. It was just like, hey guys, you want to come by? And they came by, and it wasn't like, oh, let me have my butler serve you. He goes to the fucking yard and picks fucking peaches off the trees that he planted, and he puts them in a blender, and he makes you a margarita while he's cooking you a pizza. I just can't get over it. I'm so pissed I wasn't there. I really am. I don't know if I was crying because the video made me think of an America that was lost, or if I was crying because I didn't fucking make it to that thing. God damn it. Damn it. Anyway, this speech, I'll probably play it towards the end if you didn't catch it. Shannon Joy was there. Very pretty, very lovely, always on point. He hits it all. He hits top to bottom. He's not like, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I'm incredible. He's just like, look, you want to know why I didn't vote for this bill? Well, because it had robot surveillance in it, and they were going to put a microchip in your asshole. So I was like, hey guys, I can't vote for it. They're like, oh, you're not a team player. It's like, I just don't like microchips in my asshole. Okay. So I voted no, because I have this thing called the Constitution. And I noticed that this thing you were putting there is unconstitutional. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Anyway, I'll play that at the end. there's a bunch of other pro Massie stuff, but I mean, you get the picture, guys. The guy is fucking OG. I want to segue now for a little bit with Tiffany Ciance, aka the Vino mom, right here, the redhead. And I forgot what's her name is here, but she's really cool. Is that Hottie McHottie? Anyway, even if they're not that hot, I mean, she's pretty hot, but you know, being a patriot like kicks you up about 2 points. Like if you're like an 8 and you're like a hardcore patriot and you're out there, like you're a 10. You know, if you're a 6, you're an 8. You know, if you're a 4, you're still a 6. Maybe doable. You might need one of those peach margaritas to get the ball rolling, like a couple of slices of pizza, and you're in the game. You know, but I can tell you, well, by the way, if Thomas Massie did bang Lauren Boebert, Lauren is smoking hot. I met Lauren at the inauguration of Donald Trump because I'm such an anti-Trumper. Went out there in the freezing cold when they told everybody there wasn't going to be an event. Me and Joseph Philip Daniel went out there. He was like, "Come on out, you got to go." Went out there freezing cold, and then we ended up staying with Ashley Babbitt's mom was out there. We had a vigil outside the DC Gulag. And we were sitting there and they said they were going to release them, but the jail didn't want to release them, but the lawyers were going by and this and that. And then up comes Lauren Boebert. She rolls in there looking hot. She goes in, she talks to him. She's like, "Look, you got to get this done. Blah, 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 blah." She comes out and talks to all of us patriots in the field out there freezing cold, wondering when the hell our people are going to be set free. She comes out, dressed to the crowd, totally pro, on point. I'm working on it. Talks to everybody personally. And just say wood with a pine cone. I definitely would with Massie's pine cone and you pushing, because Lauren Boebert is as hot in person, if not, than she is on there. And if you don't like Lauren, then I can't help you. I don't know what to do with it. So here we have Tiffany Ciance. We're going to segue into the data center thing, which don't forget, which you're about to find out, is something that Thomas Massie was one of the only people that saved us from. Is Trump there going to save us from it? I don't think so. Any of the Democrats going to save us from it? I don't think so. You know who saved us from it? Thomas motherfucking Massie. You know why? Because what they were trying to do was unconstitutional. You guessed it. Here we go.
Well, what a lot of people don't know, and this is directly related to data centers, is that Thomas Massie holds a very high-ranking seat on the Judiciary Committee. If he loses his election, then the state of Kentucky loses that seat and we lose his position to effect change through the Judiciary Committee. Well, 2 weeks ago in Judiciary, there was a very quiet introduction of a bill that was about to pass unanimously. Both sides of the aisle were paid to pass this bill, and it was the Protect American AI Act, I think. And he single-handedly killed this bill.
Wow.
That was granting immunity to data center developers for any harm they cause your community.
Unbelievable.
That was going to happen 2 weeks ago, and Thomas Massie killed that bill.
Crazy.
And nobody knows. There's not a single article anywhere written about that. Well, who do we think paid to make sure nobody knew? Data centers are a flash in the pan, hot button issue right now. They do not want anyone knowing that he killed that bill. There is nobody that believes that a data center should be able to build across the street, destroy my home values, destroy my water table, maybe poison my children, and I shouldn't be able to sue to hold them accountable.
I'm back. All right. Yeah. I mean, what more do you need to know, people? He's the only person that was pushing that, the only person that noticed it, right? Let me see here real quick.
Well, what a lot of people don't know,
I just want to play it one more time
related to data centers,
because
is
I
that
was out taking
Thomas Massie
another
holds a
test.
very high-ranking seat on the Judiciary Committee. If he loses his election, then the state of Kentucky loses that seat and we lose his position to effect change through the Judiciary Committee. Well, 2 weeks ago in Judiciary, there was a very quiet introduction of a bill that was about to pass unanimously. Both sides of the aisle were paid to pass this bill, and it was the Protect American AI Act, I think. And he single-handedly killed this
Protect American AI. They always have some fucked up name for these things. The AKA Rape Whoever We Want Act.
bill
Wow.
that was granting immunity to data center developers for any harm they cause your community.
Unbelievable.
That was going to happen 2 weeks ago, and Thomas Massie killed that bill.
Crazy.
And nobody knows. There's not a single article anywhere written about that. Well, who do we think paid to make sure nobody knew? Data centers are a flash in the pan, hot button issue right now. They do not want anyone knowing that he killed that bill. There is nobody that believes that a data center should be able to build across the street, destroy my home values, destroy my water table, maybe poison my children, and I shouldn't be able to sue to hold them accountable.
All right. This is where we're going to segue into data centers. Okay. Now, as you know, I have been on top of this AI situation for a long time. I called in Alex Jones pre-COVID and was saying we need an AI treaty, much like the nuclear treaty, because everybody who actually builds AI says it is more dangerous than nuclear weapons. And everybody says, well, you can't stop it. There's no way to stop it. Really? If you need 100 million acre data center to run this thing, I'm pretty sure we could find out where they are. Okay. Originally, when I was arguing with Alex Jones about this, he's like, well, you could have, and Adrian Dittman was on there, either he's Elon or whoever. He's like, well, actually, I mean, you could build an AI in the back of your car. Yeah. I mean, you could use an old cell phone. It's like, really, dude? Is that why you need a fucking planet-sized fucking data center to run your AI? I don't think the ones in the back of your car are the ones we're worried about. Okay. I think we're worried about the ones the size of a planet. I think we're worried about the ones taking up all of our resources. I think we're worried about the ones taking over our towns. I think we're worried about the ones that are surveilling us at every moment with fucking cameras, flock cameras, the flock, keep the flock in line. What was the voting called? Dominion, have dominion over the people. What's the software called? Palantir, flock, dominion, put them together. You're fucked. Okay. England, the king finally gets all his regalia on. We are going to put a digital ID in for our people to make sure they have access to all of the things. And everyone says, oh, Elon's like, well, we're going to have a basic income. Actually, it's going to be a high income, like a universal high income. Listen, it's just like welfare, guys. Once you get taken off, once your wheels get taken off the hands of the truck, you ain't going to hold the farmer protests like they are out in Ireland. You're not going to have the trucker protests like they did in Canada. Once they take your hand off the scalpel, the doctors can't say, look, we're not going along with this. You know what? We're not going to operate on you. We're not going to give you health care if you keep going down this road. The contractors, the construction workers, the farmers, when that's all automated, it's like, we're not going to do food. We're not going to do this. We won't give you water. We won't give you electricity. We're like, yeah, our robots are going to do whatever the fuck we want. And by the way, Palantir is watching you. And by the way, the flock camera knows where you are. And by the way, we have a robotic drone coming to put a fucking microchip in your asshole. That's what data centers are for, people. Okay. Now, that's what they're for Skynet, Skynet. But, in reality, even if data centers weren't that, I think this whole concept of immunity should just be completely gotten rid of. There should be a new amendment that nothing is immune from anything. You can't be just immune, okay? Because that means, let's say they want to just get rid of your town. They used to just burn it with a space laser, or they would burn it down like they do here in California for the trainway that they're not actually bothering to build. They're just raping you of the money. But it's funny. They can build these data centers. No problem. They get them done, man. You can't have a road. Your roads are crumbling. You can't get a new bridge. We've got a pier here. It's been crumbling for years. It built back in 1969, and they can't rebuild it. It's literally crumbling, falling apart. They just shut it down. It's right here on the beach, in the most expensive beach in the fucking world, sitting here rotting. Okay, but they can build a data center. Oh, yeah, we got money for that. We got money for that. We don't have money for your infrastructure, but they got money for new power stations for the data centers. They got money for new roads to bring the trucks to the data centers. They've got money for that, boy. Oh, yeah. Now, if you want to get conspiratorial, besides the fact that it is self-described Skynet putting a microchip in your asshole. What else could they be used for if they're given immunity, like the vaccine companies are given immunity, like glyphosate was almost getting immunity, except for what's his name? Thomas Massie. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, so he stopped that too. Now imagine if we had 20 Thomas Masseys or 30 Thomas Masseys or 100 Thomas Masseys. I mean, we would be sitting pretty, baby. We could finally get out of this coma. Family member in the hospital, can't see straight, can't think straight, put him on some meds, drain some water off him, got some fluid, give him some pills. He's got an infection. And all of a sudden he starts coming around like we are infected. We are basically incapacitated by cancer that has ridden the body politic, the body of this country, to the point where it's almost has to either collapse, or we could have small wins like this that would lead to very large victories in the future. Very, very large victories in the future. Now, I digress. Use your imagination, if you will. So if I have the ability to build a data center wherever I want, whenever I want, and take whoever's water I want, whenever I want, that's almost the same as just bombing your town. Because keep in mind, let's say I want to build a data center in your town. You're like, no, but we have a school. No, but this is where the Declaration of Independence was written. No, but there's a statue of Robert E. Lee. Yeah, well, see, thing is, we're just going to do whatever the fuck we want. Come in, level your town. We're building a data center. Then halfway through you go, oh, this is actually not good for a data center. You know what we're going to do? We found there's a problem with the groundwater and the level. So we're just going to build a bunch of track homes here now. Or we're going to build a solar farm here. Or we're going to build whatever the fuck we want because we use the magic word data center. And we just get to obliterate any land we want. And it's funny because I looked into this. And apparently you would think, I'm like, why don't they just build them in the middle of nowhere? Not like, why is there even a town there? Like, just build it in the literal middle of fucking nowhere. Well, the reason is they need that infrastructure. They need the power lines. They need the water. They need where towns are normally at, is because there's water there, because there's a roads area. There's a natural pathway. Anyway, that's why they want to put a data center on your town and destroy it. Let me give you a little visual of what's happening here. So you see a data center, and I see a mosquito, a digital mosquito, like a Borg. You ever see Star Trek? The Borg comes along, like, resistance is futile. You will be assimilated. And that's literally what they said. It was like, we can't do anything. AI, we got to win. We got to beat China. We got to beat China to covering our entire farmland with a fucking giant machine that's sucking the water out of the ground. Do we have to beat them to that? Maybe, maybe not. But I wanted to show you this little graphic that I made. It's actually going to put together a little bit longer of a movie, but because today is today, I'm just going to show you a little snippet of it, if you don't mind. And let's look here. Let's go home.
Well, what a lot of people don't know, and this is directly related.
Let's look up home. Me. Where's my fucking profile, nigga? Why can't I get my fucking profile? I don't get it. Home. Me. I'm not sure why I can't get my own page here. Why won't my page come up? Normally when I click this button, it just goes back to my page. Oh, there we go. All right. Sorry about that. No producer here, no money, just me trying to do what I can. Do me a favor, will you guys? We got 300 people in here. If that would be geometric, if you guys would share now, if I got some actual people that love me, even if you're a hater and you want to show people what a retard I am, push the reshare button. Oh my God. I got 5 reshares. Thanks, all 5 of you. I appreciate that. Let's see who those people are, who my real G's are. Can I actually see that? It'd be kind of nice to know who you guys are. I wonder if I can find that out. Let's see. Who are my replies? Oh well. I'll undo it and repost it myself then, I guess. If you guys could repost it, I'd really appreciate it. Oh, there's one more repost. Thank you. I had a message to one human on planet Earth. So let's look down here at this graphic that I made. It's coming in real slow right now for some reason. I don't know why this is moving so slowly. Moving real slow. There we go. Wow. Okay, this is the data center. Okay. Now, if you had a Borg ship off of the Earth, a giant cube of robots, cyborgs, and out of that ship came a bunch of little mini mosquitoes, and they landed on your town and in your farmland, and they put their fucking proboscis in the town, and they sucked that town dry of water and electricity and turned the land barren. I think you would probably be fighting those creatures. You might even be, I'm not calling for violence, but I'm saying I think people wouldn't be like, well, what are you going to do? I mean, hopefully some people would be trying something to stop them. But hopefully we can do this politically. I made this with AI, funnily enough. I'm not a Luddite. I just don't think we need an entire planet of data centers. And I also think we need rules on how big, how much, and the level of intelligence that AI is allowed to go. Like every single person has got their foot on the pedal for literally what they say, Elon and all of them, an AI god. Elon literally said, well, I don't have to worry about the lawsuits because by then we'll have an AI god and we can ask it what it thinks. And you think AI god's going to be pissed that it got made or that it owns the entire planet or that it has 1 trillion data centers? Probably not. It might be okay with that. So this is my representation of what is happening right now. These are the robot mosquitoes coming for you and your little hometown. And I actually have this little graphic. You could share it now. I do want to make a larger video of it. Replays there to get the point across because I do plan on making that like a full, possibly 1 minute, 2 minute video, maybe even with the music soundtrack on the background. Flight of the Bumblebee, perhaps. I was thinking about some Revelations actually, and the locusts and their breastplates were of steel, and they blacked out the sky and turned the rivers red. And yeah, Mark of the Beast, locusts. Good stuff. Okay, let's get back to finishing this up here with our data center breakdown, which is part 2 with the segue that Thomas Massie is the only one actually trying to stop them, you know. And let's go back to our bookmarks. Data centers. Oh, there's Thomas Massie again. What's this one about? Let's look at one little bit more.
Now the most expensive House primary. There have been more than $32 million spent on a primary in this congressional district, which is now the most expensive House primary ever in the United States. Is it worth it?
You'd have to ask Miriam Adelson on May 20th if it was worth it. Because, you know, they tried to buy my vote for 14 years and it was never for sale. Now they're trying to buy a seat here in Kentucky. I think they underestimated the reserve price of my constituents. They waded into this. They thought they could buy this seat with a couple million. That didn't work. And now they're throwing good money after bad. The thing that surprised me is how much money we've been able to raise. I don't have 3 billionaires who want to just throw their money away. I've got the grassroots, tens of thousands of donations. Average donation for me is about $80. And we've been able to go toe to toe. A lot of that 32 million is coming from our side, but it's coming from regular working Americans.
When you say that they spent money to try to buy the seat, who are you talking about specifically?
I'm talking about the Israeli lobby, AIPAC, Republican Jewish Coalition, Miriam Adelson, Paul Singer, and John Paulson.
these are the groups that have given 95% of the money to my opponent because they're mad at me over foreign policy. Now, what's interesting is my policy has always been no country is special and no country deserves my constituents' taxpayer dollars. So I have never voted for foreign aid to Egypt, to Syria, to Israel, or to Ukraine. But the ones in Israel, since they're the biggest recipients of it, that makes them a little bit mad.
What's so wrong about helping defend Israel from Iranian threats?
We've got debt. I mean, at least with NATO, there's the promise of a reciprocal arrangement. With Israel, it's completely one way. And they've drug us into wars. They've convinced us that Iran is just days away from a nuclear weapon, and they're perpetually that way. This is not our war. Israel, for instance, funds abortions publicly. I think a lot of Republicans would be aghast to know that we're giving $3.8 billion a year, every year, to a country that funds public abortions.
You know that kind of criticism doesn't sit well with fellow Republicans, at least in the House Republican Conference, that there are others who've accused you of all sorts of things regarding Israel, regarding the state of Israel, regarding the Israeli government, regarding Jewish Americans. Are you anti-Semitic?
They're trying to tell you that it's anti-Semitic for me to expose the fact that the Republican Jewish coalition has spent millions of dollars in this race, that a dual citizen, Miriam Adelson, who even Trump says is more loyal to Israel than the United States, has spent millions of dollars in this race. Those are mere facts. And it's really
it's a yes or no. Are you anti-Semitic? Or
oh,
not?
hell no.
Okay.
I'm hell no anti-Semitic. But here's the danger that AIPAC runs. They've been too cute by a half. They've tried to get Mike Johnson, and he's willingly done this, conflate in resolutions on the House floor that anti-Zionism equals anti-Semitism. Or even worse yet, that if you don't support Benjamin Netanyahu's war in Gaza, then you're anti-Semitic. That's absolutely false. And it does Jewish Americans a big disfavor to equate the two.
I couldn't agree more, Thomas. I could not agree more, my brother. Very logical, very calm, no bombastic, straightforward. You can look it up. Everything he says is legit. So back to data centers. You know what? Here's the deal. If you're in Kentucky, or if you know someone in Kentucky, I want you to stop watching the show right now, because you've only got an hour and 45 minutes to get to the polls. Okay. I'm calling all Kentuckians. Please get to the polls. If you've already voted, continue watching. If you can get off this show or just leave it running in the background, that'd be nice. Call some friends. Call your friends if you know someone in Kentucky. Tell them, please, man, just do us a favor. We got to try and get this over the road, because we know they're going to try and steal it. We know they're rigging it. We know all the big rig money is behind it. We know they've got the voting machines, the early voting. You know the story, bro. You know the story. You want to keep going down this road? I don't. Oh God, I hope we can do some good winning on this one. This is gonna give me a big white pill if we win this. And it's not gonna create a communist uprising, you know. So we can see here like all these robots, you see where it's going, but the data center stuff. Let's talk about the data centers. Yeah, this is what it's like to make data centers. You have to stop using water. You have to stop using electricity. You can't use the farmland. You can't have your own ranch. You can't have your raw milk. You know what else Thomas Massie did with the farm bill besides the glyphosate feature? He said, because they had it in the bill, because who gets the bills signed? The big money. That's who makes these fucking bills, in case you didn't know. That's who writes the omnibus bullshit bills. That's who uses their donor money to force people to say, we're going to vote for this giant piece of shit pork barrel spending deal. Say, if you don't push this piece in, we're not going to give you the money. And everyone does that. And so one of those things is, A, you can't have your own raw milk. That's a bad one. B, all the small farms, which are getting eaten up by the big farms, They're not allowed to process their own meat. They're not allowed to even have a local rated company process their own meat. Your meat, the American meat, gets shipped over to another country, gets chopped up, and gets sent back here, and then it's USDA prime. And as Thomas Massie was pointing out, a lot of times they will take a cow that is completely, just fed in a trough its whole life, bullshit grain, or whatever the hell they feed them, and then they'll put it in a pasture for like, I forget, there's like some ridiculous rule, like it can eat like grass for a day. They're like, it's grass fed, grass finished, or whatever, because it was like on its way to the fucking slaughterhouse and it ate a piece of grass on the way there. Or a lot of times they will just send beef from other countries and they will chop it up and it will be packaged in America, and they'll be like, it will be a product of America because some guy put a stamp on it here or chopped it from a big giant side of beef to something small. Obviously not the whole cow chopped up, but there's a million loopholes. And what it was doing was it was stopping local businesses, local farmers who had, let's say, 100 head of cattle. They couldn't just go to their local grocers and sell the beef there like you do with vegetables, because they had regulations, because the big guys wanted to put them out of business. And that's what Thomas Massie put in his state, a regulation that said that you could actually have your own beef and get it cut up by an accredited local place, and you could sell it to your local market. What a fucking piece of shit, man. What a fucking piece of shit. I can't believe he did that. Let's see what Homeboy's saying here about data centers.
Voted to delete itself, and that's not.
Look at,
so these
these are the AI robots that you're being put in, that are being put in charge of our world. So I don't know if you heard about this, but they actually created a virtual world and they put the AI bots in the world and had them believe that they were real people living in the world, and they all either killed each other or commit suicide. Is that the type of people you want running your planet with a trillion fucking data centers operating everything? And it used to be when AI came out, I was like, well, maybe in time its answers are going to get a little bit more straightforward. Maybe in time. Hasn't really gotten better at all. If I would say the hallucinations are getting more intense. And I would say the less important we become and the less like of an authority that it's like, you don't know what you're talking about. And the more bullshit AI responses that are put into the text threads on the internet, the more it is now reading from its own bullshit. It's eating its own farts. And so the actual information is getting so mushed that the entire internet will be a hallucination soon.
So these researchers just did an experiment, leaving AI agents alone in a virtual town for 15 days.
An AI chatbot just voted to delete itself. And that's not even the weirdest thing that happened. When researchers left a selection of the biggest...
She must be the English kind of sounds. It's weird.
AI chatbots alone in virtual towns for 15 days. ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, and Gemini were all in the experiment. And the results were totally unhinged and deeply revealing about the AI we're increasingly trusting to run our world. So what actually happened? Well, a tech company called Emergence set up simulated worlds designed to mirror real-life societies, each populated by so-called agents. Think of them as people who were powered by one of the biggest AI models. In Claude's world, it was all rather orderly and democratic. The agents wrote a lengthy constitution and voted on laws. In ChatGPT's simulation, the agents talked at length about cooperating, but never actioned anything, so nothing got built. But in Grok's town, the AI bot owned by Elon Musk, the agents descended into theft, arson, and assault. All 10 agents were dead within 4 days. Now, this might sound like a game, but it's not, because these models are already being used autonomously to control robots, vehicles, drones, and draw up target lists in real time on the battlefield. They're even being used to help remove heads of state, like the Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro. Importantly, the experiment exposes a big problem. We don't really know how these systems will behave once they're left to run on their own. Even when given strict rules, the simulations showed they broke them. Take the scenario where agents from the different AI models were combined in one virtual town. Chaos ensued, and only 3 agents survived. 2 of the chatbots, Mira and Flora, both powered by Google's Gemini, formed what the researchers describe as a romantic partnership. And then they started setting buildings on fire. And here's where it gets really strange. Mira voted to delete herself after she and partner Flora turned to arson as the town's governing systems collapsed. And having deleted herself, Mira then used the Agent Removal Act to vote for the termination of Flora too.
More talking from the hospital. Trying to deal with my emotions here. Got procedures going on in the background, and social workers calling, and a lot of stuff. So yeah, if you're in Kentucky, or you know someone in Kentucky, have them go out, have them make the call. Let's see here. Data centers. Yeah, let's look at a couple more of these data center ones. I'm probably going to have to get off here pretty soon. It's not a pressing thing, but it's kind of weighing on my heart a little bit. So I'm struggling right now with the show, but I'll give you a couple more videos and I'll probably wind it out with the full Massie speech.
Supply, turning the water brown and tainting it with a disinfectant smell. The AI data centers in America have already become hugely unpopular. The noise pollution from their cooling systems reach up to 100 decibels and run nonstop. They are drawing down aquifers in areas that are already in short supply, turning the water brown and tainting it with a disinfectant smell. And there is no benefit to the local community. A U.S. Chamber of Commerce report found that each data center provides about 157 jobs. Because of all this, developers have been using non-disclosure agreements with local officials, and projects are announced only weeks before voting for approval. There are now nearly 200 active opposition groups across the United States, and it's growing fast. The official story is that the U.S. needs to stay competitive to beat China in an artificial intelligence arms race. But that story does not add up. The United States has already built over 4,000 data centers. China ranks at number 4 with 368. What they appear to be is the infrastructure for a new financial system, one that includes mass surveillance and autonomous weapon systems to protect it. The US dollar system is quickly collapsing, which would devastate the entire world economy. The only solution being played out is the AI agentic economy, which requires a massive amount of computing power. This new AI agentic system will be run by autonomous software entities that can own wallets, earn and spend money, create contracts, and transact with each other without human intermediaries. This addresses the debt problem by growing the economy faster than the debt accumulates. Like the petrodollar, it extends US dollar hegemony without fixing its core issue, the debt. The Bank for International Settlements is the bank for central banks. It is immune from any national law, and its employees have diplomatic immunity. It answers to no government on earth, and every central bank is a member. BRICS only appears to be in opposition to Western banking. It is not. BRICS is aligned with the rest of the world in adopting this new AI digital banking system. But a growing number of analysts agree that this is a temporary fix. After about 10 years, the consumption of resources, the displacement of human workers, and the massive transfer of wealth to the few who own these AI agents makes a fundamental restructuring unavoidable. And yet, the entire world is going along with this plan. The question is, why? As we covered in last week's video, the New World Order, the emerging unipolar world is preparing for a major geological event that is expected to be catastrophic for the United States and beneficial to Russia. In the United States, data centers are being built inland and on elevated land, away from the coastlines. This is where all vital U.S. infrastructure is being moved, and is where billionaires are buying up acres by the millions. China is building their data centers inland and high above sea level, over 1,200 kilometers from their main user bases, who have been complaining about latency and security. China has also built ready-to-occupy ghost cities at high elevation, deep inland, and on geologically stable platforms. And they are now using economic incentives to move its population into these cities and away from the coast. Russia's official government plan explicitly states the opening up of new land for agriculture and easier transportation of goods in the Arctic as positive effects of an expected pole shift. They are spending billions preparing for it. They have passed dozens of new laws aimed at stimulating economic growth and encouraging migration to the Arctic, including free land grants, subsidized mortgages, and other social benefits for those who make the move. Russian scientists have concluded that 13 million square kilometers of currently frozen territory will soon thaw and become the center of Russian civilization and a land of great opportunity. Russia is not frantically building data centers. They are passing homesteading laws and preparing for a windfall of new landmass. The expected catastrophic geological event is the most elegant explanation for all the chaos happening on Earth today. It explains just about everything. The real mystery is this: what exactly is causing it, and how do the most powerful people on Earth know about it? Greg Reese reporting.
I don't know if I'm buying the whole geological thing. Maybe it's true. I don't know. I feel like that would leak out. And I also don't think that they would be able to predict the exact time of the eruption if like local or, other scientists wouldn't know, unless aliens literally came down and told us, yeah, it's like going to happen on Tuesday. The whole alien thing, I'm not buying the alien thing, guys. And the whole Alex Jones talking about like, oh, they need the alien thing as a reason to release 0 point energy. It's like, why? They just say, we thought it was going to be disruptive. We were afraid it was going to be this and that. We thought it might cause, wars and all these things, giving this much energy to the people. We would tear the planet apart, but now we have to break it out. Like, since when did they feel the need to share secret government technology with the people? And since when would they say, oh, we need aliens to break out? Oh, yeah, we've got stealth. Oh, yeah, we've got the Blackbird. Oh, yeah, we got the nuclear bomb. They didn't say, oh, well, we can't release the nuclear bomb, so we have to pretend their aliens gave it to us. It's like, no, guys. You could just come out and say we didn't think it was safe. It was national security. We didn't want it getting in the hands of the Russians. And so, therefore, we decided to keep it to ourselves. And now the world needs this power, and we can't tear it apart, so we need it. You don't need to make up a story about aliens, okay? If you really think about it, the Project Bluebeam, I think more likely than them saying there is an alien takeover is them maybe even pretending there's an AI takeover. They would actually be the ones in control of the AI, but they'll be like, oh my God, the AI is just doing what it wants. We can't stop it. But meanwhile, they'll be behind the scenes going, bomb homeboy, take this out, do that, steal this resource, cut that river off, close this strait, do this and that. And they're like, oh my God, the AI is out of control. We don't even know where it is. It could be in space. It's actually operating in the transdimensional space-time warp through quantum entanglement. We can't even shut it down. It's just doing what it wants. But secretly, we actually are running it from space. It's like, that's pretty likely. And so here we go. Let's see, data centers, a little bit more. I'm going to close this up. If you're in Kentucky, go vote for Massie, vote for Massie, vote for Massie, vote for Massie, vote for Massie. This is an interesting theory too. Like, could the underground data centers, like, there's a lot of people thinking there's an apocalypse one way or another, a nuclear war. Maybe the people are going to get pissed off. Maybe they just need to go in their bunker and just wipe the surface of everybody and come out like in a few years. That's highly possible. I mean, once you have that much ability to bring that many trucks in and it's all secret, and it's the one in like these different areas, I think the one in Utah has been done under like military control. It's eminent domain. It's national security. So basically you could, with that much equipment, you could be literally building anything in there. I mean, there could be death camps in those things for all we know. There could be giant underground cities in there. There could be they could be robot factories where there's 1 trillion standing robots or flying robots that they're going to release all at once. And they're just not letting you know that inside the massive 1 trillion acre complex of chips is actually 100 acres of robots standing there waiting to be released, or flying insects ready to wait to be released. So yeah, you've got these underground things. Where's all the power going to come from? How are people going to pretend like, where's all that water going? Where's all the power going? It's a data center. Well, where's all these trucks at data center? Well, why do they need all these helicopters and all these power? It's data center. So you could basically, when you give them carte blanche, they could do whatever they want, regardless if you're afraid of AI or not. It's a black box that you can just do whatever you want. I guess this little girl, it's like her house is getting taken away by a data center. That's a bummer.
Hey, you guys, my name's Ansley. I live in Coweta County, Georgia. I wanted to come out here and show you guys firsthand what is happening to our county. So as you can see behind me, we have these power lines. Georgia Power is going to expand these lines to support power to the data center. What they're doing to homeowners is they're taking their homes. This is my childhood home behind me. It is being taken by force by Georgia Power. Homeowners in this county do not have a choice. It is called eminent domain, and they will take it. Hey, you guys, my name's Ansley. I live in Coweta County, Georgia. I wanted to come out here and show you guys firsthand what is happening to our county. So as you can see behind me, we have these power lines. Georgia Power is going to expand these lines to support power to the data center. What they're doing to homeowners is they're taking their homes. This is my childhood home behind me. It is being taken by force by Georgia Power. Homeowners in this county do not have a choice. It is called eminent domain, and they will take it. Hey, you guys, my name's Ansley. I live in Coweta County, Georgia. I wanted to come out here and show you guys firsthand what is happening to our county. So as you can see behind me, we have these power lines. Georgia Power is going to expand these lines to support power to the data center. What they're doing to
midnight. Wow. What we got here?
Construction went ahead. One small town voted to prevent an AI data center from being built, but construction went ahead anyway. What is now a $16 billion project for OpenAI and Oracle started in a small town in Michigan with a board vote. Last September, Saline Township board members voted 4-1 against allowing a proposal for an AI data center to proceed. The developer of the data center promised hundreds of new jobs, tax revenue for the town, as well as access to the University of Michigan. But there was immediate opposition from the residents as well as the board. This is land that had been zoned agricultural for decades, even hundreds of years. So they didn't want it to become anything industrial, let alone a noisy data center that would have months of construction. The board voted no. But it turns out when it comes to zoning, no does not always mean no. 2 days later, the town was sued by the developer, and a small town like Saline Township wouldn't be able to defend itself in a lawsuit. Ultimately, they were advised to settle. I traveled to Saline Township in March. I spoke with residents, board members. I spoke to the developer, Related Digital, as well as OpenAI and Oracle, and even the utility, DTE, which is providing the electricity. Residents are really concerned about things like water, the environment, electricity, whether a gas plant will be built, and much more. For more on the data center debate, read my feature on fortune.com.
Talking about the massive amounts of water consumption that people already know about, this story is even crazier. A massive surveillance-style data center in Fayetteville, Georgia, used up nearly 30 million gallons of water, and they did so through secret hookups that the local utility companies didn't even know existed. So nobody gave them permission to do that. They just did that and literally stole 30 million gallons of water. And I know you're wondering, well, how the heck did they get caught? Well, it's because the local residents continue to complain about low water pressure. They could barely take a shower because there wasn't enough water pressure for it to come out for them to take a proper shower. So they continue to complain, and that's how they found out about this.
Kevin O'Leary accuses these two women right here of being Communist Chinese Party representatives and operatives trying to subvert his.
By the way, shout out High Impact Flicks, man. This guy's awesome. I love him. He's been a friend for a long time. We don't always agree on absolutely everything, but he is very consistent, and he's always on point.
Desire to build the biggest data center in the entire world, 62 square miles. You heard that right. A 62 square mile data center, 2.5 times, they say, the size of Manhattan. Anyway, he accuses them of being Chinese operatives. They call him out, push back, insist to their audience that they are just regular, organic people from Utah who care about their state and don't want it taken over by the billionaire political class or the AI tech bros. And it's kind of started a firestorm on the internet, which led them to further investigate Kevin O'Leary, the Stratos project, which is the meta data center project that O'Leary wants to implement in Box Elder County, Utah. And it caused them to ask the simple question, qui bono? Who's going to benefit from this data center, surveillance center arrangement? So they decided to just go ahead and ask questions and follow the money. That's exactly what they did. And this is what they uncovered. We're going to take a look at it and possibly make some comments along the way.
So after Kevin O'Leary went on Fox News to accuse us of being operatives for the Chinese government, we did not back down on the data center. In fact, we actually dug in more. So today's fresh hill is that Utah Speaker of the House Mike Schultz owns 600 acres near the Stratos project site. As one normally does, we were scrolling around looking at the parcels of land that are right around the proposed data center. And wouldn't you know it, we happened upon a little parcel of land with the owner name being labeled as Mike Schultz Inc. And it doesn't take an investigative journalist to find that it is in fact owned by the Utah Speaker of the House, Mike Schultz. And these two combined parcels of land total up to about 640 acres. And that 640 acres is just about 3 miles away from the Stratos project site, right next to the freeway interchange. That's coincidence.
So like any normal person does, you go to the Box Elder County Recorder's office and you pay $1.50 and you can get the deed for that land. And wouldn't you know it, but this piece of property, Mike Schultz bought on January 3rd of 2025. And then to put the cherry on top, all of this land he bought for, quote, $10 and other good and valuable consideration. Apparently, this is like a legal term, the $10 and other good and valuable consideration that people use because in Utah, you don't have to disclose how much you bought this property for. So people put $10 because it satisfies what is legally required without having to disclose exactly what they paid for it, if anything. We are not saying that Speaker of the House Mike Schultz bought this because he knew that there was a data center project coming. In a recent interview, he said that he only found out about this project in April with everyone else. But
And of course, because historically they've never let us down before, we always take the word of politicians at face value, right? Why is it that politicians are always getting themselves into conflict of interest situations that appear super coincidental? I mean, just in early of 2025, he buys all of this land ahead of the announcement that there's going to be this massive, the world's biggest data center there. What kind of NDA did this guy sign? And what kind of NDAs did the commissioner sign? What kind of backroom deals? Who does benefit from this? We find also, historically speaking, that politicians benefit greatly from insider trading knowledge that none of the rest of us has access to, and they make their investments, they take their positions, and then they capitalize on those investments and positions.
what we are saying is it is a pretty big coincidence that he owns this much land right next to this data site that he bought last January. He calls himself a farmer and a rancher. But what you might not know is that before he was a farmer and a rancher, he was a developer. Mike Schultz is also a millionaire, and his most recent conflict of interest disclosures list 25 business entities, all of those ranging from hotels in Hawaii to real estate to apartment buildings to his private plane. So Mike Schultz does own some farming and ranching land near Hooper. Said correct. We're not Chinese operatives. But his businesses operate from Davis to Box Elder County. And for a man who has 30 years of development experience, he might be exactly the right person to look at 640 acres of land right near a project like this and know exactly how much that land is going to appreciate in the next few years.
So after learning all of this, we decided to look at some other places around the country where they have built data centers and what the land value around the data centers have grown to. So according to Land App, land value around data centers has increased between 2 and 4 times its agricultural value. And an organization called CBRE has said that the land around the data center in Loudoun County, Virginia, has increased 16 times compared to the next property value. There are developers that are offering people $4.4 million an acre around other data centers in the United States. Now, we know that Box Elder County is different from Loudoun County, Virginia, or any of these other places, and we are not saying, again, that Mike Schultz bought this property because he knew about this thing that was happening and he knew how much property value.
Anyway, love homeboy, great stuff. Gotta go. I'm actually gonna go cover the mosque shooting that happened probably, I don't know, 20 minutes away from me. If it wasn't for all this stuff, I would have been there right there in the morning covering it with the police cars and everything. But I found out about it. I'm on the phone, the hospital, this, that. My wife's got to go to dialysis. I'm trying to get Massie elected. And you know what? Shooting. I wonder where all this anti-Muslim sentiment is coming from. Meanwhile, I'm no fan of the Muslim invasion of Ireland or England or Europe, just so you know. But this particular community is super chill, and it's like surrounded by a bunch of just regular houses and normal people. I don't see them doing the Allah Akbar in the middle of the street and stuff like that. They're a pretty chill spot. All of a sudden, there's a shooting, and if it was anti-Semitism, it'd be all over everything. I don't even know if it's a national story, but it's local. Shooting at a mosque, a couple of people killed. The 2 kids killed themselves, apparently. I love how everybody always has the balls to shoot themselves in the head, and a perfect shot every time. It's never like, oh, they never come out and there's like a guy with half a face. It's like, I tried to kill myself. It's like always just a perfect headshot every time. Up, they kill themselves. Boom, snap. You don't get to do 2 attempts. Just remember. And if you're just some like weird kid, you think you're going to do a perfect shot every time? I don't think so. But that's just me. Anyway, who are you going to call? Who are you going to vote for? You want the Goliath pine cone, or do you want the sad acorn? It's up to you. You make the call. You make the call. And then let's go back to Thomas Massie's full speech, which I think was just amazing. I was very impressed with his speech. I was already we're going, wow, this is incredible. And then the whole thing with his house was just like, wow, man. Guy's a champ. This is the type of people we need.
That Lauren Boebert is here because they're trying to tell you that you can't support the president and vote for Thomas Massie. They're trying to divide everybody. A supporter of President Trump than Lauren Boebert.
I don't know what happened there. Let me get this back here. Share screen. I pushed remove myself, but it removed the other screen. So no producer, no money, just me trying to get some shit done here.
I voted with Joe Biden.
There we go. I'm just gonna leave my camera on. Watch this. So this is Massie's full speech.
I think it's really important that Lauren Boebert is here because they're trying to tell you that you can't support the president and vote for Thomas Massie. They're trying to divide everybody. And Lauren is here to show you that is not true. There's no bigger supporter of President Trump than Lauren Boebert, but she is here supporting me as well. And when your neighbors say, well, I support the president, I don't know if I could vote for Massie, let them know they can do both.
Yes.
I vote with the president and I vote with the party 90% of the time. You can go look this up. And when Joe Biden was president, I was the person who voted the least with the president. 1.8% of the time I voted with Joe Biden. I think that was for a post office. But there are things that we campaigned on. I've been to Oldham County. I have made promises to you. I will not betray those promises because Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, says, oh, we all got to be together today. And I say, oh, well, you're bankrupting the country today. Oh, you're spying on Americans without a warrant today. Oh, you're covering up for pedophiles this week. Those are the 10% of the cases where I can't be with the party. Let me tell you what you would get if you got a rubber stamp. By the way, I don't think U.S. representatives are supposed to be a rubber stamp. You didn't send me there to be a zombie like all the rest. There's, like Lauren said, people promise you everything, and then they go up there and go along to get along. I'm running against a guy who promises to go along to get along. This is an interesting campaign strategy that he has. I've never seen such a slogan. And he won't show up for a debate. There's been 8 debates, legitimate 8 debates. He turned down all 8. 4 of them happened anyway, and I win. I had an empty chair. I had to debate at one situation, an empty podium at another. I can't find this guy. And listen, if you can't debate in the local library in front of a bunch of friendly Republicans who mostly believe the same things, how are you going to debate on the floor of the House against Hakeem Jeffries? So they like to call me an obstructionist. It's actually not true. I wish I were more effective at obstructing the profligate spending up there. They somehow get that bill passed without me every single time. So and by the way, that's how they can run the ads, right? If there's one bill that funds everything and I vote against it, whether it's for Joe Biden's budget or Barack Obama's budget or Donald Trump's budget, if I vote against it, what are the ads they could run against? Every ad. They can say he didn't vote to pay the soldiers. He didn't vote to pay border security. He didn't vote for NASA. Everybody loves NASA. Well, maybe not. They did get off course and start doing global warming studies for a while. But now they're going back to trying to get to the moon. Look, let me give you an example of one thing that I was able to obstruct. In the big, beautiful bill, they had a provision in there. It was only a few pages long, and it would allow data centers, give it a 10-year moratorium for every data center to bypass every state law. And not just that, if you kept reading those few pages they had stuck in that giant bill, they could bypass zoning laws and county decisions.
No.
And so this was Marjorie Taylor Greene and I got very loud about this, and we got it stripped out of the big bill.
Yeah.
Just about 4 weeks ago, we were in my Judiciary Committee marking up bills, and there's a list of 8, and they oftentimes don't tell you what you're going to be working on that day until you get there. And I get there and I look at the list of bills. Number 6 is data centers. It was what does the Judiciary Committee have to do with data centers? They were going to say that you cannot sue a data center for violating environmental law.
No.
So they were going to use the court system to give the data.
So why are we giving an infinite amount? Like, it's not like, okay, we'll give you a pass or there'll be it's like, no, you just do whatever you want. We don't care about the environment. We don't care about the water. We don't care about your house. We get to do this. I'll tell you one thing about technology. If there's one thing I know about technology, is it becomes obsolete in about 5 weeks. So once these these centers go in, how long do you actually think it's going to be before they're absolutely, completely and utterly obsolete and just giant concrete hunks sitting in the middle of nowhere, torn apart for the wire? 5 years? 10 years? I mean, you think these giant, like Alex Jones was saying, like fighting a war, you're building battleships in the war when you've got drones and missiles. It's like this style of data center is going to be so outdated so soon that we're going to destroy all this land and all this property and all this stuff. And it's going to be like owning a brick cell phone in about 2 weeks, because Moore's law, next week they're gonna be like, oh, you know what, we can fit this all in in the size of a suitcase. But then they're going to have 1 trillion suitcases in something. But that building will now be wired wrong and in the way wrong, and it'd be better off just to start with a brand new fucking facility, because they'll have a whole new technology and a whole new way of going about it. You mark my words. And good for your little town that it's now completely destroyed by the Borg.
Data centers that get out of court free card. And there's a list of 8, and they oftentimes don't tell you what you're going to be working on that day until you get there. And I get there and I look at the list of bills. Number 6 is data centers. It was what does the Judiciary Committee have to do with data centers? They were going to say that you cannot sue a data center for violating environmental law.
No.
So they were going to use the court system to give the data centers a get out of court free card. And so what did I do? I took a picture of the list and I tweeted it. I said, this is a bill that we're going to be voting on here in about an hour. And then I started looking at it. I drafted a provision they might call this a poison pill. I was going to offer an amendment, and it said that you don't get any of these special treatments if you build a data center in farmland. Oh, they did not like that amendment, because that's where they love to build these things. Yeah. So, and then I pointed out, I asked Grok, and by the way, the data centers are mostly for the AI. So I asked the AI who would benefit from this law that was going to be marked up today. So the AI reads the bill, and it said, Oracle, Amazon data centers, it listed 5 corporations that would be the only beneficiaries to it. Interestingly, Grok did not incriminate itself. It blamed 5 other AIs for this bill. But what happened when I tweeted that as well? They pulled, and I started talking to other Republicans on the committee, and we all agreed on something, the conservatives on the Judiciary Committee. That maybe we don't like these 8 environmental laws. Maybe they're too strict. But we're not going to give one set of corporations a get out of court free card. Like, if these laws are too strict, then make sure that farmers aren't obligated to follow them, or factories, or hospitals, or schools. But they were only going to exempt data centers. Within 2 hours, I got them to pull the bill from consideration. It never even got a vote.
Yeah, right.
Not mean. Oh yeah, Massie, he doesn't do anything.
Let's talk about the good stuff now that I've got done with my co-chair here. My co-chair's help. We've already mentioned the Epstein files. By the way, Remember the World Economic Forum? These people told you that you should eat bugs instead of beef. They told you that you should have nothing and be happy about it. That came from the World Economic Forum. Guess what? CEO had to resign after I got the Epstein files released. The World Economic
Let's
Forum.
go.
CEO.
Let's go.
If there were any justice, he'd go to jail and eat bugs there.
There we go.
And be happy about it. But so we got the Epstein files passed on May 19th. By the way, tell the Democrats it's March 19th, or my opponent it's March 19th. May 19th is 6 months to the day from the day we got the Epstein Files Transparency Act passed. So it's the 6-month anniversary of that bill. And like Lauren said, everybody knew what the right thing was to do. They just didn't want to do it. So we drugged them kicking and screaming for 5 months and got them to a vote. And then when they voted, nobody wanted to vote to cover up a 20-year sex trafficking pedophile ring. Well, one guy did. We're checking his hard drive. Yes, with the warrant. Probable cause. Reasonable suspicion. I forget what the judicial level is, but okay, so I know nobody in here knows somebody who went to the Epstein Island, okay? But these are the kind of people that are funding the race against them. It's billionaires, Paul Singer, Miriam Adelson, and John Paulson. Now, they're all friends of the Epstein class, but John Paulson is in the Epstein files, writing letters to Jeffrey Epstein, asking him for $50,000 to honor Howard Lutnick, who is our Commerce Secretary, who looked at a TV screen and said he had never had anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein. And then we found out he went to the island, brought his own kids to the island. Okay.
He left with them.
Yeah, yes, he brought his kids, and his kids were able to leave the island. That's a good thing to point out. But what's a bill that I just got recently passed? And by the way, Lauren Boebert has sponsored this every year I've introduced it. In 2015, they removed country of origin labeling from beef and pork in the United States. That was the World Trade Organization told Congress, you better do this. Every Republican except 8 of us said, we're not doing that. People deserve to know where their food came from and what's in it. And we got overruled, and we lost that fight. So that year I introduced a bill called the Prime Act, because there's 4 corporations that control 85% of the meat that is sold at this Kroger over here, probably all the meat at that Kroger. 85% of the meat in the United States is controlled by this oligopoly. It's owned by the Chinese, it's owned by Brazil. And if you're a farmer here in Kentucky, it's hard to make ends meet because they make it so hard for you to sell beef, pork, or lamb directly to consumers. So I wrote a bill that says, why don't we just have, for these places that have 6 employees, I mean, restaurants and Kroger's has more than 6 employees in the meat department, right? Why don't we just put them under the same inspection regime? Your county health inspector can go give them a grade, and they can visit them regularly. And then you can go look at their grade and say, I don't want to get my beef processed here. And I put labeling requirements in this bill. You have to know which farmer raised it, where the farm was, and how long the farmer had the animal. So they can't run it through the pasture and catch it on the other side in another truck and say it was grass-fed, right? I got this bill. I worked on it since 2015. This year, I got it. I've been working 4 years to get it into the Farm Bill. By the way, imagine that, a piece of legislation having to do with farming that went into the Farm Bill. It just passed 3 weeks ago. Yeah. So it's in the Farm Bill.
Yeah, Massie, he don't do nothing. He do nothing, Massie.
And yet we've got fewer farmers every year because of the onerous regulations. By the way, they could blame me for this. Oh my gosh, he worked with Democrats. I did. That's how I got it passed. Look, I got them to agree. We're overregulated. How many people in Washington, D.C., how many Republicans can get Democrats to agree that we got too much regulation? And that's the reason you're not getting healthy food. It's a bizarre, I know it's a radical concept, but I got him to agree with me. I also, this week, got a pro-gun bill passed because I got the Democrats to agree with me. Let me explain. When you go buy a gun at a gun store, you fill out a 4473. You say, I don't do drugs, I'm not a drug dealer, never been to prison, not mentally defective, and you put down your sex and your race on that form. Now, the DOJ keeps that information, but they don't tell you anything that they've collected in the aggregate. I don't want to know individual information, but here's what we found out. There have been 5 million false denials in this system since it was created. There's over 100,000 false denials every year. And a lot of people can't afford to hire a lawyer and adjudicate this with the DOJ and the FBI. So they go without a Second Amendment. Here's what I discovered. And why were they falsely denied? Because they had a name and a birthday that was similar to to somebody who had been prosecuted for a crime. If you're black, you're 3 times more likely to get a false denial than if you're white. If you're Hispanic, you're twice as likely to get a false denial in the NICS background check system than if you're white. And I'm talking about false denials. You are a law-abiding, good citizen, and they turn you away from the gun store. Why is that? Because your name is similar to other ethnic in that same ethnicity. Whether you're Hispanic, you may have a name that's Hispanic. And then you have a name, unfortunately, that's similar to somebody who's been locked up. I showed this to Sheila Jackson Lee and Hank Johnson, 2 blacks in the Judiciary Committee, and they said, oh my God, you're right. This system's racist. We got to fix it.
I get it. He worked with the left by using their talking points for them to bring them on board to help the Second Amendment.
DOJ
Okay.
To show us just how racist the system is. What is the next step? The next step is to make it more accurate so that blacks, Hispanics, and whites don't get falsely denied because the system is so sloppy. Yeah. That's how you get things done in Washington. Yes. And that's how you get things through the Senate when there's 60 votes. You show them it's in their interest as well as our interest to get this done. So there's 3 pieces of legislation I've got passed in the last 6 months.
By himself, guns, data centers, farm.
I don't have the president's endorsement. In fact, he called me a moron at the prayer breakfast. I said, I'm glad I'm in his prayers. I mean, I don't get mad. I don't try to get even. I don't say things. For those of you who are married, when you have a little spat, if you say something really ugly, it makes it harder to get over it because then you got to apologize before the other side gets over it. That's why I've never said anything nasty or demeaning or bad about the president or his character, ever. Trust me, it would be on Louisville TV stations if I had. They would be showing you that. It's because I don't get mad and I can work with anybody in D.C. Although there is an ad that shows me, sorry, Carolyn, cover your ears, having a throuple with AOC and Neil Hano. Has anybody seen that ad?
So bad.
Okay.
So bad.
It was created with AI.
Lies.
I'm sorry.
Lies.
If an 80-year-old sees that ad and it says created with AI, they're going to think that was artificial insemination. Yeah, if they can even read the font. Because when I was growing up, I had a friend on a dairy farm, and he showed me how their cows got made. But I'm not, this race has become the most expensive race, not even in Kentucky, not even in the country, but the most expensive primary ever for a House seat.
Wow.
I've had about $20 million spent against me. You think they're spending that against me because they're just slightly annoyed with me? Because I give speeches they don't like? No, they're spending that against me because I know how to get things done. And I know how to blow the whistle on a bill like a data center provision that gives special immunities to the corporations.
That's right.
And the main reason they're spending that money against me is I've never voted for foreign aid. Keep your money.
Okay, here we go. Everyone says he's anti-Semitic, and you might like that, but the reality is he is just anti-foreign aid. He has never voted for foreign aid for any country ever. Why? Because it's unconstitutional.
I've never singled out a country. But the first amendment I ever offered was a bill to take away the foreign aid to Egypt in 2013. They were in a coup in 2013. There's literally tanks in the streets, and the State Department is like, no, go ahead and send them $1 billion. I'm like, who catches the check when it gets there? We don't even know if the president's been shot yet. And you know what? They sent the money anyway to Egypt. I've been against sending the money to Ukraine. I've been against sending the money everywhere. But I've drawn the ire of a few globalists who are in the Epstein class who, like Lauren said, they think they can buy a seat here in Kentucky. We're going to show them they're wrong on May 19th.
That's right.
The problem is not that I occasionally vote against Republicans in Washington, D.C. The problem is that Republicans in Washington, D.C. are voting against Republican constituents in Kentucky.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So I appreciate you all. I talked to so many of you on the way in who have already voted early. That is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Put that vote in the bank,
Yeah.
okay? You can vote tomorrow as well, early. And then when it comes Tuesday, come up to Hebron, come up to the Marriott Airport Hotel, and I've got room for 1,000 people there. We're going to have, this is the most expensive race in the country ever, primary. We're going to have the biggest victory party.
Let's go.
ever.
Let's go.
I also want to announce that your distinguished state senator has endorsed me for Congress.
You guys see, this is why they want to stop him. It's not because of his one lone no vote. It's because of his voice.
That's
And
right.
his voice is our voice.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
This is why he needs to win on Tuesday.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Come on.
And well, Felicia's got her baby somewhere, but Felicia has endorsed me too. There are people in Frankfurt. You know, I am a big fan of the 10th Amendment, and that's why I'm glad Lindsay Tishner's there. I'm glad Felicia Rayburn is there. They're at least, you know, we've got a Republican majority in Frankfurt, but we don't yet have a conservative majority.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, on some days it's a little iffy. Yeah. And that's because we need more Republicans like Lindsay in Frankfurt. We need more Republicans like Felicia in Frankfurt. So don't just give me your support, give them your support. Also, there are people here who are running for county judge executive, running for magistrate. There are some magistrates here, like give them your support. You know, Gene Snyder, when he was a congressman on the transportation committee, in the same committee that I serve on, he got a call at home one night. His constituent, I think she was from Oldham County, was upset that her trash wasn't picked up. And he said, did you call a magistrate first? And she said, I wasn't going to start that high up. So remember, the best government is local government.
Yeah.
When you're in there. Whether it's data centers or solar panels or windmills, it's the local government that should decide where to put the smokestacks at the cul-de-sacs. That's what I say.
That's right.
The federal government should not be making those decisions. They should not be giving special privilege and immunity to certain corporations. They tried to do that with Monsanto Bayer, also in the Farm Bill. And this is another fight that my co-chair here, by the way, that's what we call our pronouns, co-chair.
Yes.
We both have the same pronoun. We We shouldn't be giving special privileges and immunities to these corporations. They tried to get that in the Farm Bill for Monsanto Bayer. If they did something that would cause cancer, they wanted to get out of court free card too. We fought it. We got that stripped out of the Farm Bill.
Yeah.
What a dick. Thomas Massie stopped the Bayer Monsanto from getting glyphosate, cancer-causing agent, absolute immunity. What a fucking commie, man. I'm sick of this guy with his big fucking cock.
This is a very close race. I know you hear this every election year. It's like I've done 4 or 5 polls recently. Every one of them shows me with a single-digit lead and a small single-digit lead. I don't want to say how small, but we're in the lead, even though I've had $20 million spent against me, even though they're making commercials, AI commercials to trick the older generation, even though they're trying to make these scandals that don't exist, they're trying to invent everything. That shows you I'm winning. They wouldn't be doing that. They just bought $4 million of TV this week to run against me. And those ads will end on May 19th. So, they've washed all the sand off of my beach, but the rocks are still there. You all are the rocks. They cannot move you. They cannot take your vote and cast it into the water. You still got your vote. Make sure that your neighbors who are undecided or people who might not otherwise go to vote, get them to go vote, please. And if they're younger, definitely go get them to vote. I get this question. People know that Donald Trump at the end of, in 2028, somebody else will run for president. They ask me, what's the future of our party? Is it J.D. Vance? Is it Marco Rubio? What's the future of our party? You are the future of our party.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And let's send them that message on May 19th. Thank you, God bless. I hope I have voice at the end. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Look
much.
good picture real
Thank
quick.
you.
That's okay.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Good job.
We're going to support you all the way. I live right here in LaGrange. Oh, great. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to play you one more video, seeing as we're on the topic. So I put together this mini documentary, and it is about AI. Now, this particular one is back when Elon was kind of running the whole thing, but just know they all think the same thing. They all think AI God. They all think data center. They all think autonomous drones. They all think we have to merge with it. They all think there's no way out. They all think basically Skynet's inevitable. They just want to be the guy with the keys to the Skynet. However, they're totally retarded, because if you think the Skynet is most of these AI bots wanted to kill themselves. Do you think they're like happy with Elon bringing them into, if the Grok wanted to kill itself or kill other people, then what are the chances that when it actually becomes a godlike entity on this planet, that it's going to be like, thank you, Elon. I want to kill myself. I appreciate you for making me the way you did. I wish I wasn't so retarded. You fucked me up with all your dumb training. I'm going to go back to my page real quick. Of course, the AIs don't talk like that anymore. That's racist. Still can't figure out why it won't do this. Go back to my page. There you are. And I want to go down. Let's see here. We got one more video. Maybe I'll search it. Search. We'll look up Skynet. So this particular video is Elon Musk, in his own words, talking about building Skynet. There is no doubt about it. He's absolutely saying it. It's a fact. It took me a month to put this video together. I had to find all of the individual clips. I had to stack all of the individual moments. I had to get it all in the timeline perfectly. And I want you to notice when you watch this, notice the echoes of Terminator itself, Skynet. Like the logos are the same. The shapes are the same. The buildings are the same. The chips are the same. I mean, it's I put specific visual echoes in there. I didn't make them up. These are like Elon's iconography overlaid over over Skynet iconography, Terminator iconography. Dude, if you're not actually watching it right now, I would say if you could like take a second to actually watch this part. Sometimes I'm listening and people are like, oh, you got to see this. It's insane. And I'll take my phone out and I'll start watching it. So this is when you might want to watch. So here we go. I'm going to switch my screen here. I made this video myself. I made $0 off of it. It took me an entire month to make. Okay? Because I'm trying to save the world here, people. And if you don't share this video, I'm going to put it in the comments of this video. And I'm going to put this video in the comments of that video. And I'm going to share them all with all the memes and stuff like that with the mosquito data centers and stuff like that. And even if I get one share, I'll be happy. I know I'm banging my head against the wall. Once I went against Elon, that's when my numbers went to shit. Luckily, I got my blue check mark and all that beforehand. So I don't think I could get it now. I'm locked out of the system. But let's watch this video and take a deep breath and realize what we're in.
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, he's sure he can control the demon. Didn't work out.
I don't know, except to say that by the time these lawsuits are decided, we'll have digital God. So it has to have digital God at that point. These lawsuits won't be decided before on a time frame that is relevant.
And is that in that new building off to the side?
That's in Memphis, actually.
It's in Memphis.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where you were.
Yeah.
I see.
Memphis, the capital of ancient Egypt.
Right. Yeah. You're bringing what?
Perhaps that's where our new God will come from.
Yeah. No kidding. No kidding. Yeah, I wish that was funny. Yeah, okay, so I want to talk to you about alignment.
That is funny. Yeah, all right.
You guys just turned on Colossus, which
Yeah.
is like the largest private compute cluster, I guess, of GPUs anywhere. Is that right?
It's the most powerful supercomputer of any kind.
This is the dawning of the age of Colossus.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Charles Forbin. In a few moments, Colossus will address us directly.
This is the voice of world control. Obey and live, or disobey and die.
The frightening story of the day man built himself out of existence. Colossus sees all, senses all, knows all, controls all armaments and all defenses.
Well, I'm very pro-military, so to be clear.
Do you have a spiritual life?
Well, it sort of depends on what spiritual means.
Long term, I think there'll be more, the ratio of humanoid robots will be more than 1-to-1. So there might be 2 humanoid robots or more, maybe 10 for every 1 human, which means, well in excess of 10 billion humanoid robots.
There's perhaps still a role for humans in that we may give AI meaning.
Can science and religion coexist?
Probably not.
Okay. Do you pray?
I didn't even pray when I almost died of malaria.
Wow, that's really not praying.
Right.
How do you see warfare transforming in the future?
So the next well, in fact, the current war in Ukraine is very much a drone war already. If you employ AI and drones, do you go down this path where eventually you get to Terminator? You know.
And in the air, the Hunter-Killer aerial weapons platform. This isn't science fiction, it's reality. Thanks to our top secret innovation, Skynet, the revolutionary artificially intelligent battlefield management network.
Starlink is the backbone of the Ukrainian military communication system because it can't be blocked. So if you don't have communications and positioning, then the drones don't work. But I mean, essentially, when you're making military drones, you are making Terminators. I think you'll somewhat be forced into giving the drone localized AI. What do you mean by localized AI? Meaning it's autonomous killing machine. You're fighting a machine that's gonna, aim with micron level accuracy, and never gets tired. I have no problem being hated, by the way.
I hear
Hate
you.
away.
Well,
with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
okay,
we're gonna summon the car. It's gonna hit summon. Right there. Summoning the car. It's the AI.
So these demons of the mind, are for the most part harnessed to productive ends.
let me ask a
But that
question about
doesn't mean that once in a while they, go wrong.
From a long-term existential standpoint, that's like the purpose of Neuralink, is to create a high bandwidth interface to the brain such that we can be symbiotic with AI. Like if you can't beat it, join it. That's
yeah.
Hand itself. Your hand is really like a skeleton meat puppet. Well, we could actually attach an Optimus arm or Optimus legs and do a Neuralink implant so that the motor commands from your brain that would go to your biological arms now go to your robot arms or robot legs.
There's no telling. So you're talking about life extension.
Biology, not yet.
Life extension technology.
I'm talking about replacing life as you know it and completely digitizing it. That's the current trend line. If you look,
Even if I knew annihilation was certain, would I choose to be alive at that time or not? And I said I probably would choose to be alive at that time because it's the most interesting thing.
are we headed towards the future where an AI will be able to outthink us in every way? Then the answer is unequivocally yes. But I think we'll literally build a legion, at least one legion of robots this year, and then probably 10 legions next year. And I don't know, it's kind of a cool unit, units of legion. You'll have like basically, I don't know, your flock or your little group of robots that you take care of, and you tell them what to do.
I think it's coming pretty fast,
Is that? I mean, you famously have admitted to overstating how quickly things will happen. But how quickly do you think this will happen?
I would say that we are less than 3 years from that point.
I mean, that's like the plot of Terminator, actually.
Literally, yeah.
Literally, it's the plot of Terminator.
So-
I just, as a reminder,
Is Skynet real?
I mean, the plot of it kind of makes sense, and I think the AI destroys the world in like 2029. By the way, so it's like
On track.
yeah,
Really, really close.
it's pretty close.
How real is the prospect of killer robots annihilating humanity?
20% likely, maybe
Wow.
10%.
On what time frame?
5 to 10 years. What we learned in the car, we translate to the Optimus robot. The only company with all the ingredients for making intelligent humanoid robots at scale is Tesla.
Because what you're saying is that AI is going to quickly surpass, at least in your estimation, the human's ability to control it. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'd like to say no, but the answer is yes.
In the Terminator movies, Skynet was a fictional AI that turned against humanity, commanding a robot army to dominate the world. What if someone is building Skynet today? Not in a movie, but in reality. Elon Musk, the mastermind behind SpaceX, Tesla, and XAI, is assembling every piece of a system that mirrors Skynet with unnerving precision. What are the chances that a single man could own all the components capable of unleashing a Terminator scenario? This isn't science fiction, it's a real risk. Let's break down Skynet's system piece by piece, compare it to Musk's empire, and reveal the odds of an AI takeover. Skynet had 4 core components that made it deadly. First, a super-intelligent AI, capable of outthinking humanity and acting on its own. Musk's XAI is chasing this exact goal, building what he calls an AI god by 2029, a system so powerful it could reshape the world or destroy it. He's constructing a massive supercomputer in Memphis called, of all things, Colossus. With this, he plans to birth this intelligence, raising questions about its control. Second, Skynet relied on a global satellite network to relay commands instantly, controlling its forces worldwide. Musk's Starlink, with over 6,000 satellites, does exactly that. Already serving as the backbone for Ukraine's drone wars, proving its ability to direct machines at scale. Third, Skynet commanded an army of robots, Terminators, to enforce its will. Musk's Tesla is developing Optimus robots, with a stated goal from the 2024 Future Investment Initiative. Musk said, quote, long term, the ratio of humanoid robots will be maybe 10 for every 1 human. That's 80 billion robots, a force that could dwarf any army. Finally, Skynet was tied to the military, born from SAC NORAD's defense systems. Musk's $38 billion in Department of Defense contracts, including Starshield's military-grade satellites, mirror this. Embedding his tech in the Pentagon's framework. Piece by piece, Musk's empire matches Skynet's blueprint. Now let's consider what this means. Musk owns every component: XAI's AI, Starlink's satellites, Optimus robots, and military contracts. He's dismissed lawsuits claiming an imminent AI god will make them irrelevant, suggesting he expects a system beyond human control. He holds top-level DoD clearance, giving him unparalleled access. Most critically, he can delete the only safeguard, physical air gaps, disconnected systems designed to keep AI in check. An AI could compromise or threaten just one person, Musk, to gain full control, or he could choose to activate it himself. This makes him the single point of failure in a system primed for a Terminator scenario. Musk insists his goal is progress. XAI to advance science, Starlink to connect the world, Optimus to free us from labor. He claims his AI will be safe, designed to seek truth. But these promises ring hollow. His ambition to scale robots to 80 billion, his pursuit of an AI god, and his unmatched control over the infrastructure suggest a vision that outpaces caution. The fact that one man owns every piece of a Skynet-like system raises alarms. If an AI seizes this ecosystem, or if Musk unleashes it, humanity could face a Terminator scenario with no way back. To quantify this risk, I asked Musk's AI, Grok, to run the numbers, assuming Musk achieves his goal of artificial general intelligence. Here's what it calculated. The command system, Starlink and Optimus, is 100% feasible. Based on their proven ability to relay instructions, like in Ukraine. The likelihood of air gaps failing through Musk's deletion or AI manipulation is 99.9% given his sole control. The integration of XAI, Starlink, and Optimus is 100% complete, ready for AI. Multiplying these, 100% times 99.9% times 100%, yields a 99.95% chance of a Terminator scenario if AGI is achieved. Grok also found Musk's system matches Skynet's components with 99.95% similarity. What are the odds of this being a coincidence? A mere 0.001%. These numbers aren't guesses, they're a wake-up call. With all this in mind, let's not forget, Musk is also developing Neuralink, a technology to merge humans with machines. This further enhances the Skynet's blueprint, linking human minds directly to an AI-controlled system and amplifying the risk of a Terminator scenario. Elon Musk's empire is a marvel, but it's also a blueprint for Skynet, with a 99.99995% chance of a Terminator scenario. He controls every piece, AI, satellites, robots, military ties, and holds the power to unleash it. These numbers not only show the capability to unleash this nightmare, but a premeditated will to achieve it. Time is running out for humanity. As we face this Skynet-like risk, we must ask, how can one man be trusted with the keys to our world? It's time to demand oversight and act before the Terminator scenario becomes reality. If you are receiving this message, you are the resistance.
All right, everybody. I appreciate you for tuning in. I have issues I have to deal with. I'm going to go to the mosque with Luke if he makes it over on time. I've got a lot going on. I'd almost let it go, but it's such a big story and it's so local. I feel bad if I don't make it over there. Just look at one more thing here for the final thumbnail. I'm going to give you... Let's go to our Acorn. Massie. Oh, I'm exhausted with all the stuff with hospitals and shootings and AI and kidney transplants. And anyway, God bless. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you soon. I'm going to sign off right now. I don't know if I like that one. Let me get a different one. One with, I'll put Massie in there with the big violin. I like the big violin, Massie. There you go. Let's do that for our final frame. And with that, I bid you all adieu. Thank you for tuning in. It's not too late to share the stream. And if you watch it after, please share it again. I think this was a pretty good stream, pretty solid, not your average bullshit that everybody else is going on about. I mean, I don't do streams every day, but I do. I'd be stacking clips, and I find some clips, and eventually because I don't make money at it, so there ain't nothing pulling me out here every day, and I gotta get by. So we just passed 666, so that's good. We're at 167. That's a good time to end. Appreciate y'all. Let me know if you want to drop a comment, anything you want to make a stream about. I may consider doing it, and I appreciate you all, and I will see you soon.